Alright, I have a couple of questions I want to ask about being a DNR officer, or, having to do with the DNR.
Yes.
First off, what type of schooling is needed?
Okay, well, the job that I have as a conservation officer, I do work for the Department of Natural Resources, and we do law enforcement work for them. The schooling required is at least an associate's degree, or at least 2 full academic years working on a bachelor's degree. And it does not have to be in any particular field. It does have to be from an accredited school. A lot of colleges that are for-profit, for instance, are not accredited, but your Indiana universities and all of your non-profit schools are generally accredited.
Alright, what kind of led you to be a DNR officer, and how does it mess with your family life? Does it keep you close to them, or?
Well, I want to go back to the last question. I don't think I fully answered it, and then I'll come to this one, back to this one. In addition to that, we have a lot of training we have to do. We have the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, and then we have Conservation Officers Training School. In order to become a conservation officer, you have to also go through those. The other question about what led me to do it, I always had an interest in law enforcement, and this was just the path because I also had an interest in the outdoors that I took. And as far as family life goes, this job's a little different when it comes to that because your family kind of has to work around your career. It's not a 9 to 5 or a midnight to 7 or anything like that. It is a combination of all those things. I work a rotating schedule, or a sliding rotating schedule. I generally work a couple late evening shifts, a mid shift, and then an early day, then a couple early day shifts. And I work for 5 days with my schedule sliding, 5 weeks with my schedule sliding, working 6 days a week or 6 schedules a week and having 2 days off, and then I have a couple weekends off. So I only get 2 weekends out of every 7 off. So it kind of messes with the family life. The family has to kind of understand that the job has to come first.
In the Department of Natural Resources, there's other jobs other than a conservation officer.
Correct.
What are a couple others that you can think of right now?
Well, first of all, the Department of Natural Resources is a pretty good sized department. We have 24 different divisions. Conservation officers do law enforcement work for the other 23 divisions of the department. So there's a myriad of things that can be done. Everything from state parks to reservoirs to fish and wildlife areas, Division of Oil and Gas, Division of Coal Mines, Division of Forestry, Division of Entomology, museums, memorials. You see there's just a myriad of different things in the DNR to do. Around here, for instance, working at the reservoir or something, there are people that are recreation specialists that work there. There are people that are wildlife specialists that work there. So there is a myriad of different things to be done.
Alright. You did mention how the work schedule, you need to accommodate it.
Yes.
What are your typical hours that you would work? I mean, I know that you don't have a specific time frame, but about, let's say, in 1 week.
Well, it is actually more structured than it seems like. I work 42.5 hours a week, 8.5 hours a day for 6 days, and I do that for 5 weeks in a row, and then I work 5 days, have 3 days off, 5 days, 3 days off, then back to the 6 and 2, and that works out to an average of 42.5 hours a week. But the typical schedule is I'll work, say, 3:30 to midnight, and the next day I'll work 3:30 to midnight. Maybe the following day I'll work 2 to 10:30, and then I'll work maybe 7 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon for 2 or 3 days. Then have a couple days off. So it just makes it where it slides around a little bit. It's all written down, and I know what I'm supposed to work about 10 days before the start of the schedule, but it isn't the same time every day.
So it's a pretty, changing job then.
Yes. And it depends on the area of the state that you work in as to what you do, and also the time of the year. For instance, in the summertime, we do a lot of boating law enforcement. I do a lot of campground law enforcement, which is kind of like being a city policeman because you have all kinds of robberies and family fights and that sort of stuff to deal with then. and then water patrol with boats in the summertime. Where in the fall now, it's a lot of hunting activity. In the spring, a lot of fishing activity. Additionally, I do off-road vehicle accident reconstruction for the 9 northeastern counties. So that's something that I do as a specialty that a lot of other people don't do. In a county that doesn't have state properties, we wouldn't have that campground enforcement so much. And if I didn't have water in Huntington County, like Salamone and Roush, I wouldn't do so much boating. So it just varies depending on the county, too.
I would guess that being a conservation officer would mean typically being outside more than in. But what does, if you have any inside work, what does it consist of?
Actually, there's a whole lot more inside work than it seems like. First of all, we, like everybody else, are tied to computers anymore. Every time I do some sort of investigation or make some sort of a citation I issue someone, all that has to be recorded on a computer, and it's live fed to Indianapolis. So that's a lot of inside work, whether it's in my car, which often is, or at my house or somewhere else. I have to do all that reporting. And then a lot of our training, of course, is done inside. And some of the duties that I failed to mention earlier is we also have to educate the public for hunting safety, boating safety, snowmobile and off-road vehicle safety programs, and trapping safety programs. And those are all done inside. We have to do at least 150 hours of public appearances every year, which are mostly all done inside. And all of our monthly reporting is done inside. So, and training. All of our training is done pretty much inside. So it's not nearly as much outside as what you think, but it is a fair amount outside as well.
All right, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.